My brother convinced everyone I stole mom's nursing home money, making me a family outcast. When he lost his job and house, I revealed his gambling addiction to his wife. Now he lives in his car while his kids call me dad. It started with a receipt. Just a single piece of paper that my brother Adrian left on mom's kitchen counter during one of our weekly visits to check on her finances. I probably wouldn't have even noticed it if he hadn't been so careful to casually mention it 3 times during our conversation. "Oh, by the way, did you see that nursing home receipt I left on the counter? The one from last month?" Something about his tone made me pause, but I brushed it off. That was my first mistake. I'm Josiah, 35, and until 6 months ago, I was the reliable son. The one who handled mom's accounts since her early onset dementia diagnosis 2 years ago. Adrian, my older brother by 3 years, had always been the charismatic one. The successful real estate agent with the perfect family. His wife Lily, their 2 teenagers, and a house that could have been in a magazine. I was the quieter one, the accountant who spent his Sundays organizing mom's pills and reviewing her finances. That receipt changed everything. It showed a $3,000 payment to Grace Meadows Nursing Home, but something felt off. I handled all mom's payments through automatic transfers, and the amount didn't match our usual monthly rate. When I pulled up her bank statements later that night, I found a series of irregular withdrawals, $2,000 here, $3,500 there, spanning the past 4 months. My stomach dropped. I hadn't set up those transfers. The next day I called the nursing home to verify the payments. They had no record of receiving any additional funds beyond the regular monthly charges. I spent that entire weekend digging through statements, tracking transactions, and feeling increasingly sick as the total grew. $42,000 missing over 4 months. Before I could complete my investigation, Adrian called an emergency family meeting. I arrived at his house to find not just him and Lily, but our Aunt Sarah, Uncle Mike, and 2 of our cousins. The ambush was perfectly orchestrated. "I found something disturbing," Adrian announced, his voice carrying that practiced real estate agent concern. He pulled out a stack of papers, bank statements, withdrawal slips, and what looked like forged signatures. "I've been looking into mom's accounts, and it seems someone has been stealing from her." The next hour was a blur of accusations, each one carefully laid out by Adrian. He'd apparently been investigating for months, gathering evidence that painted a devastating picture. Me, stealing from our mother's accounts, using the money for gambling websites and online purchases. He had screenshots, transaction records, even emails that seemed to prove everything. I didn't want to believe it, he said, his voice cracking with well-practiced emotion. "But the evidence is clear. Josiah has been taking advantage of mom's condition." I tried to defend myself, to explain about the receipt I'd found, the irregular transfers I'd just discovered. But Adrian had an answer for everything. "Of course you just discovered these transfers," he said. "Because you knew I was getting close to exposing you." Lily, who'd always been kind to me, couldn't even look me in the eye. My Aunt Sarah was crying. Uncle Mike, who taught me how to fish when I was 10, asked me to leave their house. The next few weeks were a nightmare. Adrian, as the older brother, took emergency control of mom's finances. The family rallied around him, praising his discovery and his dedication to mom's care. I was shut out of family gatherings, blocked on social media, and treated like a pariah. Even my attempts to visit mom at Grace Meadows were met with resistance. Adrian had convinced the staff that I was a person of concern. I hired a lawyer, but the evidence Adrian had manufactured was comprehensive. The lawyer advised me that fighting this would be expensive and messy, with no guarantee of success. "Sometimes," she said, "it's better to step back and wait for the truth to surface on its own." That was 3 months ago. I've spent every day since then documenting everything, saving emails, recording conversations when legal, and slowly building my own case. I know Adrian is behind this. I just can't prove it yet. But last week I noticed something interesting. Adrian's perfect life is showing cracks. His luxury car disappeared from his driveway, replaced by a modest sedan. Lily's Facebook posts about their summer vacation plans quietly vanished. And yesterday, I overheard his son Miles at the grocery store, arguing with him about having to switch schools. I may have lost this battle, but I'm starting to see the bigger picture. Adrian's perfect life seems to be built on quicksand, and I've got nothing but time to watch it sink. The truth has a way of surfacing, usually when people least expect it. And I've learned to be very, very patient. For now, I'm the family pariah, the thief who stole from his own mother. But something tells me this story is far from over. Adrian may have won the family's trust with his performance, but he forgot one crucial detail. As an accountant, following money trails is literally what I do for a living. And I've just started digging. Update. It's amazing how much you can learn about someone from their garbage. I wasn't planning to go through Adrian's trash. I'm not that kind of person. But when Aurora noticed him dumping 3 full bags into the neighbor's bin at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, well, sometimes life gives you weird opportunities. Quick update for those following. I'm Josiah. The guy whose brother Adrian framed for stealing $42,000 from our mom's nursing home account. It's been 6 months since I was branded the family thief. But things have changed. A lot. Remember how I mentioned Aurora, my girlfriend who works as a financial investigator? She's become invested in clearing my name. Maybe too invested. This isn't just about money, she said one night, spreading papers across our dining table. Your brother's tells our textbook. The late night activities, the defensive behavior, the elaborate cover-ups. Classic signs of addiction. I didn't want to believe it at first. Adrian had always been the successful one, the guy who had everything figured out. But the evidence was piling up. Those garbage bags he dumped, full of betting slips and loan statements from 3 different payday lenders. The missing luxury car wasn't sold, it was repossessed. And those weird emails he used to frame me. Aurora traced them back to a public library computer, used during hours when Adrian claimed to be showing houses. The real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Miles, Adrian's 15-year-old son. He messaged me on Instagram one evening. Uncle Joe, can we talk? Dad's acting weird and Mom won't listen. We met at a coffee shop near his school. Miles looked smaller than I remembered, hunched over his hot chocolate. Dad's been sleeping in his office, he said, stirring the whipped cream anxiously. Says he's working late, but I heard Mom crying about missed mortgage payments. And last week, I found this in his jacket. He slid his phone across the table. The screen showed a photo of a bookmaker's ledger, with dates and numbers that made my stomach turn. The amounts matched perfectly with the missing money from Mom's account. Aurora and I spent the next month building a case. We tracked Adrian's movements, documented his gambling patterns, and most importantly, found proof that he'd fabricated the evidence against me. The hardest part was watching his life unravel while we gathered evidence. His real estate listings disappeared. His perfect lawn grew wild. Lily started working extra shifts at the elementary school. Then came the day Adrian lost his job. Not because of the gambling. He'd hidden that well, but because he'd borrowed money from client escrow accounts. That was our moment. I took everything we'd found to Lily first. She deserved to know before anyone else. We met at a small diner where she used to take her lunch breaks. I brought the files, the photos, the bank statements, and the final piece. Security footage from the library showing Adrian creating the fake emails he'd used to frame me. I knew something was wrong. She whispered, her hands shaking as she looked through the evidence. But he always had explanations. Always. She looked up at me, her eyes red. The house is in foreclosure, Josiah. We have to be out by the end of the month. The kids, they don't know yet. I expected her to be angry, to deny everything. Instead, she just seemed tired. You know what the worst part is, she said. Last week, he told the kids their college funds were safe. But they're gone, aren't they? I nodded. Those accounts had been emptied months ago. The family meeting this time was different. No ambush, no dramatic accusation. Just truth, laid out in clean, clear evidence. Adrian wasn't there. He was trying to secure another loan across town. Aunt Sarah cried again, but for different reasons. Uncle Mike couldn't stop apologizing to me. When Adrian finally came home that night, Lily was waiting with divorce papers and a police report about the stolen client funds. I watched from my car as he walked into his house for the last time. 20 minutes later, he came out with a duffel bag and drove away in his now repossessed sedan. That should have been the end of it. Justice served, name cleared, family relationships on the mend. But life's messier than that. Yesterday, Miles and his sister showed up at my apartment. Their faces were streaked with tears. Mom's working double shifts, Miles said. We barely see her. And Dad, he's living in his car now. He keeps texting us about how sorry he is, how he'll make it right. He looked at me with eyes too old for his age. Can we stay here for a while? Just until Mom figures things out? I let them in, of course. What else could I do? They're family. As I watched them settle into my spare room, Aurora squeezed my hand. You know this changes everything, right? She was right. This isn't about clearing my name anymore. It's about picking up the pieces of a family shattered by addiction. And somehow I've become the one they're all looking to for stability. Final update. Life has a twisted sense of humor. A year ago, I was the family pariah, branded as the son who stole from his mother. Now I'm sitting at my kitchen table helping Miles with his calculus homework while his sister practices piano in the living room. Aurora's making dinner, and Lily should be home from her teaching job soon. It's not the family I expected to have, but sometimes the best things in life come from the worst situation. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me catch you up on the past year. After Adrian moved into his car, things got messy. He started showing up at random places. Miles's baseball games, the nursing home, even my office once. Security had to escort him out when he started yelling about how I'd stolen his family. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Then came the anonymous emails to my employer, suggesting I was embezzling from clients. Easy to disprove, but still disruptive. When that didn't work, he tried spreading rumors that Aurora and Lily had been having an affair, which was why everything fell apart. Nobody believed him, he'd lost all credibility by then. But it showed how desperate he'd become. The turning point came 3 months ago. I was reviewing Mom's old bank statements, making sure we hadn't missed anything, when I noticed something odd. Before Adrian's gambling came to light, he'd set up a series of small corporations, standard practice for real estate agents, but these were different. Aurora helped me trace them. And what we found? Well, let's just say gambling wasn't his only vice. He'd been running a sophisticated money laundering operation through his real estate business for years. The gambling addiction was real, but it was also a convenient cover for something much bigger. Those client escrow accounts he'd borrowed from. That money wasn't lost at casinos, it was being cleaned for some very dangerous people. I sat on this information for a week, weighing my options. The old me would have gone straight to the authorities, but now I had Miles and his sister to think about. Their lives had been disrupted enough. That's when Adrian made his biggest mistake. He showed up at Mom's nursing home, drunk and angry, demanding to see her. When the staff refused, he tried to force his way in. The security footage showed him shoving a nurse who tried to stop him. Mom saw the whole thing from her window. She had one of her rare lucid moments and asked me later, "Why is Adrian so angry? What happened to my sweet boy?" Something in me snapped. Not in a violent way, but in that calm, crystal clear way when you know exactly what needs to be done. I compiled everything. The money laundering evidence, the connections to his business partners, the footage from the nursing home incident, and sent it to 3 places. His remaining gambling contacts, the FBI's Financial Crimes Division, and most importantly, the people he'd been laundering money for. The results were exactly what I expected. His criminal associates weren't happy to learn he'd been skimming from their laundered funds to feed his gambling habit. The FBI was very interested in the paper trail. And those dangerous people. They were suddenly very eager to have a conversation with Adrian about his financial management skills. Within 48 hours, Adrian disappeared. Not permanently. We know he's alive because he keeps trying to contact Miles through burner phones. But his car was found abandoned at a bus station, and word is he's somewhere in Mexico, running from both law enforcement and his former associates. The family's reaction was surprising. Instead of blaming me for Adrian's final downfall, they rallied around us. Aunt Sarah and Uncle Mike helped Lily find a new job at a better school. The cousins who'd shunned me started showing up with casseroles and offers to babysit. Mom's care improved now that we weren't hemorrhaging money to cover Adrian's debts. Last week, Miles started calling me Dad for the first time. Not in a formal, "you're my new father" way, but casually, like it was the most natural thing in the world. "Hey Dad, can you help me with this math problem?" Or "Dad, is it cool if I have friends over?" Each time it hits me right in the chest. Aurora and I are getting married next month. Lily's going to be her maid of honor, which would have seemed impossible a year ago. The kids are excited about having a stepmom who knows how to track financial criminals like a superhero. As Miles's sister puts it. Yesterday, we received a postcard from somewhere in Cancun. No return address, but I recognized Adrian's handwriting. All it said was, "You didn't just take my family. You destroyed my life. Hope you're happy." I showed it to Lily and Aurora. We all agreed. It's going into the file with everything else, just in case. The funny thing is, I don't feel happy about Adrian's downfall. I feel relieved. Relieved that Mom is safe, that the kids are healing, that Lily can sleep at night without worrying about debt collectors. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying someone's life. It's about building something better from the ruins they left behind.